Hi, welcome to the Libertarian Alternative. My name is Mark Selzer, and the Libertarian Alternative is an educational television show brought to you by the Libertarian Party. We're at the beautiful Atlanta Marquis Marriott, and we are here at the 2004 Presidential Nominating Convention of the Libertarian Party. We are interviewing a candidate for
United States Senate.
U.S. Senate, Donald Silberger, and you reside in the state of New York.
In the town of New Paltz.
In the town of New Paltz?
Paltz.
Paltz.
Yes.
And where is that?
That is slightly closer to Albany than to New York City, and about 8 miles west of the Hudson River.
So this is a Jewish name, Donald Silberger?
I guess so. It was a name that was laid upon one of my ancestors by the Austro-Hungarian emperor, who felt that everybody who lived in Austro-Hungary, who doesn't already have a Hungarian or a German name, better get a German name.
So, but you're not practicing right now. You're out of practice.
I'm out of practice, but I'm ethically Jewish and ethnically Jewish.
So does that at all connect with your libertarian ideology?
I suspect it does.
Yeah?
Yes.
How so?
Well, libertarianism tends to be a little radical in certain respects. People get down to the roots. And Jews are travelers. They move from country to country frequently, and when they move into a different country, they have a basic ideology that is often not in complete accord with the ideology of the people around them.
So what made you decide to run for Senate as a libertarian?
I had some things that I wanted to communicate, and we have an unusual situation in New York State right now.
And what's that?
The unusual situation is that one guy is almost certain to win.
So
I would like to say it's
district.
me. I would like to say that it is I. But I would not make that assertion with great confidence. But the Republican and the Conservative competing with the Republican and the Green, whoever that will be, and another guy who wanted to be the Republican but didn't get his nomination or ours. He and I debated together during the convention in which I was nominated on the 24th of April. He's going to be running, and he and I, in fact, might wander around and dog Charles Schumer's heels and carry on our own debates. One of the advantages of having a situation in which the outcome, in terms of who's going to get paid and get the pension, is already basically determined, in New York State anyway.
So it's a fixed district. It's a fixed Republican district?
No, Schumer is going to be reelected. He's popular in New York State, at least in New York City, which carries the predominant vote. Unless I can convince people that they should change their habits slightly and consider an alternative. Moi. One of the advantages that one has in a situation where the race as a race is basically determined is that people suddenly are able, if they wish, to say something real instead of simply trying for a popular effect, trying to squeeze a few more votes out of people who haven't reflected too deeply.
So you want to, you're running on issues that you believe in, rather than sticking your finger in the air, seeing which way the wind is blowing, and then repeating those things.
The conventional wisdom is that the wind is blowing in a direction different from the one I will take. I'm going to challenge that conventional wisdom because I think there's reason to doubt it these days.
The Republicans and Democrats seem to be the same party, more and more so now.
Both the Republicans and the Democrats are taxing us more, creating more regulations, more controls, and believe that they should run our lives. People are used to believing that the government should run their lives, particularly in New York, where it happens more than most places.
Really? You think the people in New York aren't very independent?
It's a big city and it's independent in certain respects. Certainly people have their independent artistic tastes, for example. But when you're living in tight quarters with a lot of other people crammed together, some sort of rules are necessary. The rules in that situation customarily are passed down from above. They don't have to be, but that's the custom. And so people are told they can't walk across the street when they don't see cars coming. That's jaywalking, and they get fined for it. And of course, the city likes to make money that way.
Right. So it's tax collection.
It's tax
basically.
collection. Right.
They're interested in more in collecting fines than actually creating order.
I think that there's some question about what they're more interested in this way, but certainly collecting fines has a benefit which nobody can question, except the people whose money is confiscated in this fashion. And they can't really question it.
They can't. How long have you been in the Libertarian Party?
I joined either in '89 or '90. I can't recall which. I used to think of myself as a radical liberal.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I was even flirting with the Socialist Party in 1960. I quit the Socialist Party in 1960 because they refused to consider the possibility of incorporating as one of their planks on their platform the legalization of abortion by choice.
Oh, really?
Yes. They thought that was far too radical. And so I thought to myself, well, you're afraid you're not going to win the election? Is that it? You're afraid that you'll lose votes and thus not gain office holders?
Uh-huh.
That reminds me a little bit of some of the people in our party this time, who are a bit afraid to say things too clearly.
Well, this is an interesting history. You know, I think that we can agree with the moral imperatives of socialism, that people should have enough to eat, a clean place to live, enough to eat, and people should have medical care, but we disagree with how they want to go about getting to that point. They want to use force, they want to use taxation, and we think there is a better way.
Precisely. In fact, I'm going to be trying to reach people who, as I thought I was a radical liberal, but all along I've been a libertarian without knowing it.
Classical liberal.
Well, I called myself a liberal, as Democrats called themselves. I couldn't understand why my fellow Democrats and socialists disagreed with me on certain issues. I mean, after all, you know, freedom. They speak in terms of freedom as well, you know.
We have, you know, I call myself a liberal libertarian because on social issues I'm very liberal, but a conservative can also, a person who's very conservative on social issues can also be a libertarian. I'm not a Christian, and I don't live a Christian lifestyle, but there's a lot of people in this party that do, and you know, we're open to everyone. It's just a matter of, we're the party that's really like the Founding Fathers intended it to be. This country's big enough for all of us.
As long as we respect one another's rights.
As long as you respect one another's rights.
And understand what those rights are.
Right. If Christians show that their lifestyle is the best, I think a lot of people will be attracted to it. A lot of people are.
Christianity at its best is libertarian.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we observe right now Christianity not at its best.
So I'm really interested in this history, though, of you in politics. You're in the Socialist Party.
Well, I was sitting
a small party in New York.
Let me tell you the story. I was sitting at my kitchen table, my dog comfortably curled up around my feet, and I was arguing with a friend of mine from the point of view, I thought, of a leftist. This fellow said, "Don, you think you're a liberal. You're not a liberal. You're a libertarian." I said, "A what?" He said, "Yes, there's a party by that name."
Really?
So for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was looking around trying to find that party. I got a hold of a person in New York City, Vicki Garrison, who was not too happy to have her phone ringing all the time.
Invaded.
And she grumpily told me to phone Dottie Lou Brokaw. And when I did phone Dottie Lou Brokaw, I asked her a couple of questions.
Which were what?
You're representing the Libertarian Party? I said, yes. And she invited me, of course, to the first Tuesday of the month meetings at the New Paltz College Diner, which I've been attending ever since then. Anyway, the questions I asked, now let me understand this. The Libertarians are against gun control. They're in favor of people's right to keep and bear arms. And she said, that is correct. And I said, and they're in favor of legalizing drugs. That is correct. I repeated this question several times because I couldn't quite believe my ears, that there was somebody else who saw the world in the same way politically as I.
Right. You know, it's always the right wing that's arguing they need to put your hand in your pocket and take